prior to this conversation, we had a conversation with this Ilosisi, Kia, at the park, regarding even her daughter. So yeah, I'm thinking she has a lot to share. So based on that, I'm gonna start with her. What makes you a responsible mother? Yeah.
So I wouldn't say there is a one size fits all when it comes to parenting, and there are different parenting styles. And one thing, basic thing that I think makes a good parent is making sure that your child is not in need of anything, and that is physically, emotionally, spiritually, and every other thing, mentally especially. Yes, I want other people to talk all about. If you want me to elaborate, I can.
I don't mind at all.
We all know the physical aspect. Somewhere to sleep, school, basic necessities of life. And then when it comes to the emotional needs, which is very important to me, considering our African settings, we usually don't take into consideration the emotional struggles our children go through. Let's say toddlers, children from 3 and then teenage. I have a teenager, so sometimes she goes like, I'm stressed out, I'm going for a walk. And, what is stressing you out? Like, what's
She's tired of your time.
what can be stressing you out that you need a breather? But I'll also have to understand that she also has her own problems that maybe she cannot share with me.
What can a 14-year-old child have?
A lot. Like sometimes when she was going to write an exam, for example, she was very stressed out and I didn't know. And I was like, are you learning? Mommy? So one day she was like, I'm tired. And she wrote a note that she needs a break from learning. So that is a stressor for her. Learning is a stressor. So I think we should, what basically makes a parent a good parent is just trying to just factor on in all these aspects of life so that at least you do your best and whatever comes out of it, you hope that it's good enough for society and yourself.
Okay, before I come to Afi, let me go to Ifua first. Your take on it.
Okay, to me, I think that what she has said, you need to, first of all, give your child the basic needs. But aside that, as a parent, then everybody and the kind of children you get. Okay. So everybody have the way of parenting. And sometimes our way of parenting also triggers from how we were also parents. Yeah. So you see that if you didn't get that kind of parent that will sit with you, talk with you, sometimes maybe with a civilization that you have a culture, you've gone to school, you want to try to do modern things, but sometimes your past pulls you.
Yeah, in fact,
Debbie.
They are parallel.
Debbie. That's a parallel class. So I'm saying, and then you see a most to Miss Show, I know what time you will say, hey, what do you mean? You see, so it is a very difficult thing because and every child that you give birth to brings up his own behavior. So it is not one fitted size for every child. So if you have 2 children, you have to know that you have to be a parent who is dynamic because you have to deal with every child as they are. So that is one thing that makes it very difficult, very, very difficult.
Before, how have you been able to handle yours?
Well, it's not been easy. Unfortunately, mine was such that I didn't spend so much time with my daughter, but the little time I did spend time with her, I'll say I tried to do my best. Like Enrique said, try to organize things in terms of their needs, physical, emotional, spiritual. I remember one time we got to a point, educational, grades was bad. Then you ask the child, what is the problem? Is it that you don't understand what you are being taught in school? She says, I'm okay. But then you look at the grades, it's not okay. You have because of my case, because she was not living with me, I asked her, okay, come around, and she says no. Then you start having all these crazy thoughts. But I believe that as a parent, like they both said, our kids grew up with their own mindsets. And if we want to laud our upbringing and try to make them emulate what we went through, we'll end up fighting with them every day. So I believe that kids of today, this generation, are a different breed from what we went through and what probably our parents went through. We should just try and allow them to live. And by so doing, we'll be able to strike a balance, and that doesn't make us great or the best parents, but it's balances between being just a parent and being a great parent. Your kids will see you for who you are and allowing them to also be free to do what they do. Sometimes you have to, like you said, tap them. But
Spread the word, spread the
you
child.
understand.
All right. I don't know whether you have one for yourself. Do you?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so
have a son. My
okay.
late sister's son, but he's not my son. So
okay, but biologically you don't have one yet.
not yet.
How do you intend to raise yours? Should you have? And even how are you raising the one that you have?
I'm raising him just like mine, so it's like mine. You understand? Yeah. Just like the two ladies said.
So forget about the guy.
Very normal. Take it.
Today is just
It's not my time.
And the gentleman. Yeah. Let me just add up. Just like she said, that from the way we were parented, like my dad is an old soldier, so he's
Same
not.
here.
You won't have our parents call you and talk to you. We didn't have that.
Yeah.
You understand? So I think I have more of that.
Okay.
And my son is very stubborn. He's 11 years. He turned 12 in March. He's so stubborn. So I'm always punishing him. And Ama Ohumia, he's always like
On the verge.
yes. So my best friend was like, do you know your son fears you? So he will go to my best friend and discuss stuff with her, but he's afraid to talk to you. So when I had my surgery recently, I was living with my friend like for some time. She was taking care of me, and my son was there with her. So when I came back from there, before I go, my best friend was like, your son wants to say something to you. He says he wants to ask you something. Then go. I've told her, so go. Then he came and was like, Mommy, Auntie says you are going to have surgery. And I said, yes. Okay, so then I wish you would. I said, thank you. So my best friend is trying to, help me to get to the soft side where I can be able to talk to him, and I think it's good to be, like, I'm hard, because that's how I was trained, If I say sit here, I expect you to sit there. Because that was how I was brought up. So I'm very disciplined.
Okay.
So I'm like, so can't you learn from me? Manuel, can't you learn from me? I'm always like, so I'm trying to, it's very important to be a friend to your child, so that they'll be able to feel comfortable and tell
Express
you
themselves.
everything.
Yeah.
Yes, but for now, he does that with my best friend. So I'm even fortunate that he's able to do it with someone and she will tell me about it. So I'm trying to, be a little soft on him.
I've had certain cases where it's a guy too, right?
Yeah.
And best friends, and by the time you realize the things that happen aftermath when he's grown, because he comes so close to the other person than you. So I hope you get a drift to where I'm coming from. What would you advise such a person who has that kind of rough patch for the son, but the son is rather close to somebody else?
You risk losing him. So be careful.
Yeah, so I'm trying.
Because when it gets to the point where your friend gets his attention more, you will lose everything. You lose his trust. And when he has issues, trust me, he'll be struggling, because when he's having issues, at that point in time, your friend will not be in the house.
Yeah.
It's you. But then he's scared to talk to you. He doesn't know how you handle it.
Yeah.
So he has to wait till your friend comes. And that within that period, you have no idea what can happen.
Yeah.
It could be a psychological issue. It could be something really pressing. So when it's getting, yes, people come around. Personally, I grew up in a month. And for her, she wouldn't have the time to call you, sit you down and advise you. No. You have to, all she does is give you the money, you go to school. And fortunately, I grew up getting closer to mentors. So they gave me some sort of life coaching growing up. So if you are not, he's not fortunate to have that kind of people around him. It's risky. You might find yourself in the wrong hands, and then before you know it, the wrong thing is done.
All right. So yeah,
Yeah.
your take.
Okay.
How do you think kids should be raised in our homes?
Okay, a bit to that. I think that I have a bit like that with my father. So for my father, for instance, no guy comes to the house to the phone. So,
Yeah,
so recently I was
well,
telling an older man that the kind of parents we had parents, we didn't have friends. They are parents and not our friends. And that's how we grew up. And they did good parenting. So like you're all saying, parenting is different, even from your own kids. So I think that maybe from now, when you tell him to sit and he comes and he's not sitting, don't say anything. He would naturally know that you're changing and try to understand why you're changing. When you do that for a while, sit him down and talk to him. He may not change from your first talking to him, but as you keep, we all change. Because when I was growing up, I needed a friend in any of my parents. I never had. And it's a bit difficult. So I've always said that I would be a friend to any child that I raise. But I would also say that, like I'm saying, parenting kids are different. I've had the opportunity to stay with kids for some times in my life. And every child is different. I think we need to listen more and appreciate how they're thinking now, because the kids now are more exposed than we are. They say stuff. I mean, Mr. Combs' daughter comes to you and it's like, oh, this beach is dirty. It will spoil the aquaculture, and they say things like, and the habitat. Do you know what's a habitat? Yeah, where the animals stay. I mean, she was like 4 years old, and you see that like, at 4 years, I didn't know the word habitat. Yes.
What's I
So
Habitat.
yeah.
So
So I think that contrary to maybe how we've been brought up, we should teach kids what it is. I find it a little difficult to have parents that are able to tell their kids that a vagina is a vagina, a penis is a penis. Let's not, we make it, we give words to words. Yes, yes. And they will learn it outside. There are a lot of things. I think I am a little bit fortunate. I think I was grounded more towards biblical stuff early. Otherwise, for the kind of person I am, I don't think my parents would have contained me in the house. I was not allowed to visit people, but there were times, funny enough, I'm allowed to go to the cafe, but I'm not allowed to even come and visit you.
To browse.
Now, my cousin may call
You
cafe, I won't
didn't
even
come
mention.
here.
No, the thing is, my cousin may call cafe, I won't even mention. I can go for 2-3 hours. There were a few times I never go to the cafe. I wasn't going there actually. But you see, I won't go and do something, one, for fear of bringing disgrace to parents, and also for myself. So I think that we should allow kids to be a little bit liberal, guide them actually. We can't always get it right. We can't. I've been out of home for so long a time. If I wanted to do anything with my life, I was
Why you really like that?
So,
So I, for instance, the first time I ever sat on the dining table with my dad I was sick and I didn't want to eat. And I had the opportunity to sit on the dining table with him to eat because he was going to give him his soja so that I could eat the food. How were you raised and how do you intend to coach, if I use the word, child of yours?
When I'm asked this question, I find it very difficult to answer because I self-parented.
Oh, really?
Yes,
How do you do it?
Okay, so I went to boarding school at a very early age. I was in boarding school at the age of 5.
Okay.
So,
I mean, I know your folks.
my parents, because my father had left his matrimonial home at the time to be with someone else, and that's another family. And my mom was in a very demanding job, and because the kind of education she was giving was very expensive, and so she needed to put me in the boarding school. And so yes, I started boarding school at the age of 5. And when I became an adolescent, at some point, even though she had moved me out of the boarding school, I was living with a lot of relatives. And at the point when I was supposed to settle with her, she wasn't feeling well, and so I had to be the caretaker. So basically, I self-parented. And so it's, sorry. And so for me, when I'm asked that question, it's difficult. I think that one thing is my mom did a very good job with you, because the little time that I happened to have spent with her, I think she did the best that she could, you know, to instill in me what she can instill in me. I didn't have the opportunity to really be raised by my father, because I only spent a few vacations with him, and at some point it stopped. You know, so basically I grew with relatives, aunties and uncles and all that. I was most often not with my parents. It's either I'm with an uncle or auntie or something, and each and everybody.
Make amends for your students.
Okay, so I have godchildren. Okay, I have children that I have raised, not completely, like partially. So, for instance, in neighborhoods that I've just, a child who runs errands for me ends up being like a godchild to me, and so I support that child in various endeavors. And there are times that some of them have to live with me, you know, partially.
You thought you did a good job.
Maybe so. You see, because I think, okay, now I also have nieces and nephews. Now, you see, the thing is that with my nieces and nephews, for instance, and also with my godchildren, who've had some time to live with me, when I say stop, the first one, the second one, the third one, you know you're going to receive it. Yes, it's a given.
Say what?
Yeah, it's a given. So my stop doesn't go beyond the third one. And the third stop, it is coming with a king.
Okay.
It's a given. Okay. Now I'm also the same person that I'm also the only person that gives them hugs and kisses.
Okay.
Their parents don't. They've never received hugs and kisses from their parents, but they are assured to receive hugs and kisses from me.
Okay.
But I'm also the same person when I say stop, and one is misbehaving. The other will say, Auntie Juanita will beat you. She says, stop, stop.
Okay.
The same person, you get it. So I think, not being a biological parent, I think that having had the opportunity to be with nieces and nephews and also godchildren, I think to some extent I have instilled in them. Yes, because you see, my nieces and nephews, for instance, when I look at them a certain way, they get the message.
Okay.
And then for my godchildren, they are now old. I mean, they are in their early 20s and stuff like that. When they were in their teenage, when they do something, okay, and I'm silent, I'm quiet, I don't react, I don't respond, they just look at my demeanor. They know exactly that they've
Thank you. Let me get to the parents here. I'm sure you all have them already. Who's playing the good cop? Who is playing the bad cop? Let me ask the better mess. Who's the bad cop? Who is the good cop?
I think I'm the bad cop
Hey,
because
tell me about it.
yes, I think to have a parenting style similar to Afi's style of parenting her son, I'm the type that if I ask you to do something, I expect when I come back it's done.
That doesn't look like it's crowd.
Yeah, it's kind of deceptive.
I like that.
See, even my girls are very jealous.
I have boys,
Yeah,
boys, and I don't want them to kind of end up not knowing how to take care of the house, living his case, he wasn't receiving affection from parents. I tried to raise them as if they are adults. So I assigned them duties. I expect them that by the time I come back from work, the house is clean, the kitchen is clean. So when I walk through the door and it's kind of the place is messy, the kitchen is a mess. Sometimes they look at me, they sort it out. Sometimes I have to compel them to sort it out. But children are different. And with my three boys, they are all different. Yeah, so one is very emotional, one is very independent, and one, the small one, always wants to be around. So you need to find a balance to deal with their various attitudes and moods and all of it. So striking a balance between that and ensuring that we are putting them on the right side. Sometimes it's difficult because if you are not careful, you end up being too strict with them. Sometimes you end up neglecting their emotional needs, and sometimes you end up losing them as friends because I was raised with a cane, I was raised with the hand, I was raised with the slippers. Sometimes
At home with the broom.
yeah, exactly. Sometimes I would wait to my here before I realized that. But with their dad, it's kind of different. So I think he would be
Always buy the coffees.
Oh, me.
Cars. Daddy, I want this you buy. Daddy, good cop. Why do you buy it? Oh, okay. Bougie there.
Bougie there.
If you listen to that girl, you go wrong.
Okay, let's wrap up.
Okay, so yes, I was raised by both parents, both very highly educated, lawyer, child psychologist. So they pretty much knew or thought they knew what they were doing. They placed a lot of emphasis on the non-material aspects of life. Be friendly, be kind, be soft, but at the same time be intelligent. So that didn't negate the occasional slap. Fofonya anglotonye. No kojikwa. Oh foge. Danya anglotonye. Ana jagology. Atomo foge na. So even though they were both highly educated, they still had links to their roots, and the roots were the slippers, the cane, and the hand. But all in all, they also understood the need to ensure that the children had a childhood. So I'm not too different from my wife. If you do something wrong, I'll call you down. I'll tell you, okay, I've told you this once, I've told you this twice. This is the third time. So the third time, stand over there, bring out your hand, collect 5. That one, it happens. But I'm not, again, too emotional. I wait, I measure, then I deliver. And then after that, it's over. The next 2 minutes, if you come and ask me for anything you need, you take it, because it's not an emotional thing. And then children are also children. You must also remember that the way they will treat you as a parent when you are old depends on the way you also treated them when they were children. So I'm also very passionate about ensuring that children are children, because I was a child, and as an adult, I still live out the childhood aspect of living. Be kind to people. Don't think too much about what people do to you. Do it and move on. Leave things behind you, that sort of thing. And you can only do that when, as a child, you live the childhood as a child. So I try to. If I'm a good cop, but she's also a good cop. No, most of the time. That one, I'll not take that.
So he mentioned something about calling the child when he's wrong. He tells him, okay, he has boys. He tells them what you've done, and for that reason, you are taking 5. Do you always have to explain yourself to the child before they take the lashes?
I think yes, because it's important that they understand why they are getting this punishment. If they understand it, then hopefully the next time they will behave properly. So we do that.
So it will go.
Okay, but then
Hello has a soft spot.
I'm very soft. I'm very soft and just like pretty easy with them. But they are often.
Is that how you were raised? I think kids.
A bit of it.
So you give them more of what you have.
Yes. Yeah, but there are times I get called from work that somebody did this, did that. And I'm like, well, so what did you do? Oh, well, I'm telling you, so when you come home, punish him. Why do I get to be the one to punish him? But after that, I still fall for it and tell you, so Valika, this is what you did. Or Justine, don't do that. So.
Alright, so, Mrs.
Hi.
Do you think you're doing a good job so far?
I hope so.
You hope so.
Yes, because I think my kids are pretty scared of me. I don't spare them all.
You have a feeling with that?
The thing is, I was raised by an aunt. She had 4 boys. So she raised me like a boy. Yes. So,
I love long career mistake away to the man.
Simple.
I was raised by her and she had 4 boys. So you can imagine being the only female in the house.
More like some boy.
Exactly. So I'm very strict with my boys. They know.
You have all boys?
Yes, I have 2 boys. 5 and 2. So you can imagine. The first one is quiet but very sneaky. The second one is playful and extremely sneaky.
Hey.
Yes. So I'm a bit tough on them. When I'm not home and they do some their big sister calls, or sometimes she'll tell them, "You, when mommy comes out, then as soon as they see me enter the house, we start begging. Mommy, I'm sorry, I will not do it." They already know. They already know that when I'm giving the rundown, okay, so did you do it? Yes, you did it. Okay, meet me in the. Or maybe sometimes after they finish eating, I'll just, Vanny can come and take something for me. Then I'll lock the door. I'll lock the door. I have this small charger. Exactly. But after that, he understands. And then he knows that next time he's not supposed to do it. Or when he's going to do that, even the younger one will say, Vanny, have you forgotten? Mommy told you not to do this. And I think it's good. Yeah, sometimes you have to be hard on them. Other times you have to be softer. But I think, I just hope I'm doing a good job. And they're able to tell me anything. Whatever happens in school, they're able to talk to me. Or if someone did something to them, they're able to tell me. So I think I'm doing a good job.
Looks like we have a parent of boys. Yeah.
It's also important that as parents, we always remember where we are. I've had the privilege of living in different societies and realizing that in any other society, when anything happens to your child, he falls from a tree, he breaks his leg, the chances that he will be healed are almost 99%. Now, if you know where we are coming from, it should check the way we raise them. Now, it's all fine and good to say you copy Western lifestyles, but can you solve Western repercussions? So that should always be the station. And that should be the utmost thing in your mind as you raise your children. If you know you're raising them here and in the next 3 or 4 years they are abroad, fine. You can give them all the latitude that you want to. But if you know that it's apart from chance, there is no way they are living where we are. I think your parenting style should be different. Let me just add to that.
So, well, somehow, I don't know how the conversation got to the disciplinary part of it, but I'll come back to where we started from, about parenting, I believe that it's also about helping a child to identify their potentials, what's in them, why are they here? You know, I'm someone's child. There's a reason why I was born to my family, to my parents. Okay? So what's the reason for their birth to us? I've come to understand that my kids are really not my kids. They're just given to me for me to help them, and raise a better Ghanaian, a better human being for society. So it's important that even as we discipline them and all that, we help them to also grow and nurture their kids.
Money, support family, and all that. The blend is quite difficult. Now, how have you been able to combine that and raise those two hardcore boys?
I don't have two, I have three.
Oh, my bad. So, question. How come everybody's raising boys? So, how are you handling them?
Okay, so I think in terms of balancing, taking care of them and then work, it's a bit difficult. So this year, I purposed in my heart that I would do my best to be present. Because when I go to work, I'm a mere teacher. But
You say mere?
yes, I know
teacher
what
is
I'm
mere.
saying. Okay, let me explain.
Okay.
When I was teaching in Wesley Girls, okay, I get to go to school when I have a class. If I don't, I'm allowed to stay out of the school. But where I find myself now, if you go at 7:15, you close at 5. And you need to mark and give feedback, and next day you go to the classroom. And what I teach is essay-based. So if I have 30 students in the class, I'm marking essays.
Wow.
And then the next day I go to the class, I'm going to do corrections.
I don't envy you, Clara.
Good. So I go to work at 7, I can close at 9. By the time I get to the house, they'll be asleep. So this year, when we were coming, I was telling you, this year my resolution is I'll do my best to close at 5, whether I'm done or not. Because I have seen the lack in their lives. Anytime I come home, my mom will tell me, Nanayao did this, Papayao did that. Sometimes I'll get calls in the school. And I'll need to tell my mother, okay, I'll call them. And I'll call and I'll be, why did you do this? Why did you do that? And I realized that it is because I'm not present. Because if I'm present, some of these complaints won't come to me. So now I'll close at 5. When I get home, I'll ensure you do this, you do that. Now we are running by a timetable. I can have a timetable, so it's a free flow, something. Now we've created a timetable. If you come, you have dinner, you bath, you rest. Then you're all going to sit down. You will learn I work. So I'll bring my work home. When you are done, we can watch TV. Sometimes we watch TikTok and laugh. And then that's it. 8:30, you are sleeping. So that is what I'm going to do. And it's starting from Monday. Because I have realized that my mom can't handle them. And it's very tough when you are there and then you get calls and then your child is this, your child is that, do this, you won't do it. My last one is 7. Yesterday I called him. I said, Kofi, can you come and wipe my table for me? Yes. Do you know, he told me point blank, yes, that, Mommy, I'm sorry, I'm tired, I can't do it. He said it.
Wow.
And I like the assertiveness. Because, yes, I like the assertiveness because in this era, you need to raise your children to be assertive, but there should be a limit. And the parenting we had then is not the same thing. Hey,
You are tired. I hope you took dinner. Or they didn't cook
you don't want to know.
We have a backing vocalist.
This time is, I don't know, some of the things they say, sometimes I go like.
Where is it coming from?
Because my time, you are tired, you won't wipe the table. But when he says that, and you give him 10 minutes, he will do it. So when he says that, Kofi, me, okay, I won't give you, he will sit down for like 10 minutes and then he will come and do it. So now I'm thinking, do I need to make you speed up the thing? If I want it, should I stress you to do it now? Or I should just relax and allow you to do it when you want to do it? But when you do that too much, then you give them a lot of space to misbehave. Because imagine if you have a visitor and your child goes like, Mommy, please, I'm sorry, I'm tired, I can't do it. It becomes an issue. And then sometimes for those who have parents, they understand that children, but for those who don't have children, sorry, I meant those who have children, but those who don't, they go like, "Well, you want to show by you want to say by so sometimes when I see like when my friends come and my children are misbehaving, I'm like, cool. There's been a day I literally fought my eldest when my friends were around because I was so angry. I was so angry. It is tough. Parenting now is extremely tough, and especially for me, it's a different ball game altogether. So we need to find the balance and ensure that no matter what we do, we try to put them on the right path. So yeah, we are going to do our best.